This is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Miss Fortune Feimster.
Whoop whoop. How's it
What?
going?
How are you? Welcome. What's going on?
Oh, thank you. Just living life. That 2022 so far is real interesting.
Are you like a big New Year's person? Do you get into New Year's Eve?
I used to back in the day. It used to seem like this magical night. But then once my wife and I met, and we had a couple exciting New Year's Eves, and then now we're like those ladies that 5 o'clock dinner and then on the couch
There's nothing I
watching the ball
see.
drop.
I see nothing positive about going out for New Year. So I am so right there with you.
Well, the older I get, the less I like huge crowds too. And that's a pre-COVID thing too. Not even COVID time is that been an issue, but yeah, I'm just not into the big, like where you're like shoulder to shoulder with people.
You're like, let me just stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things I've been doing home besides doing this podcast is I just watched Sex Appeal, this great
Nice.
new, such a good movie.
Oh, thank you.
How did you get involved in that?
They had my agents had seen the script, really loved it, thought it was like really unique, and so uh she had told me like, you should read this script and see what you think, and I thought it was so funny and clever, and I really loved it. And then I just had Zoom meetings with the director, and we hit it off. And she was like, we had talked about a couple different characters and what we thought made sense, and then landed on this one. And so yeah, I was shocked that they wanted me to play a mom.
One of
Because
three moms.
this baby face right here. But our director, Talia, was just had so many cool, fun ideas. And I think also being a lesbian mom takes you away from the traditional mom anyway. And so I liked that idea of just stepping into a whole different type of role.
And you got to work with Margaret Cho.
Yes, I love Margaret. We have worked quite a bit together over the years, and so this was cool to team back up again and be we were exes in this film,
I love
but
it.
very friendly exes who were trying to co-parent.
Exes who live next door to each other.
Yes.
I just had Margaret on this show very recently, and she said there was a pilot that the two of you shot with Tina Fey, where it
Mm-hmm.
was like an all girls school. I forgot the part you were going to play. And I'm like, somebody needs to find this pilot on whatever shelf it's on and dust it
Oh,
off like immediately.
that show, the getting the no on that show was such a heartbreaker, because I do, and I think Margaret probably felt the same way. I do believe it would have been a hit. We were the result of the regime changing. The president of the network got fired, and when new people come in, they usually kind of wipe the slate clean. And we had not gotten an official pickup. We had been told that we were unofficially picked up, and that they would be giving us more information. And then the president got fired, and that was that. And it was such a heartbreak because it was so funny. Yeah, it was about this women's college. I played an RA, and I got to be like the wrangling all the other students, and Margaret was the dean. It was pretty great.
It's like you, Margaret Cho, and Tina Fey like producing. I'm like,
Yeah.
do we need to know anything else? I
I mean,
mean,
and that's the thing about Tina and her writing partner, Robert Carlock. They are like joke machines. It was just like one joke after another. And when anyone says no to a show that they're at the helm of, you're like, really? That's a wild decision.
yeah, that's a wild. Do you ever get used to that, like being in Hollywood and just like, do you get used to like the nose or like really wanting something and getting close to it? And then here we are. I mean, there's a lot
Hollywood,
of yeses you get,
right?
obviously, but
I get a lot of no's too. I mean, Hollywood is. I'll never not be surprised by things in this business, because it is a business where a lot of things don't make sense.
Hmm.
There's a lot of decisions that are made based on, financial reasons, or fear of failing, or whoever's in charge. I mean, there's so many things that lead to no's, and you go, really? How is like all this stuff in the air? It's trash, and you're saying no to this. And so I've just learned to like take the no's a little less personal as I've gotten older, as I've gotten more experience in the business. It doesn't make it hurt any less. You still feel that sting whenever you don't get something you really wanted. But you are conditioned to have a thicker skin because you just have experienced so many no's.
Right.
But it makes you appreciative of the yeses, that's for sure.
Right. What about like when you first got to LA, like when you started your career, you were an entertainment journalist
Mm-hmm.
doing in a way what I do now.
Yeah.
Like was that your goal? Like when you were growing up in North Carolina, did you want to be an entertainment journalist or was that just like the stop to comedy?
It was a pay my bills kind of job. I didn't really know growing up what I wanted to do. I didn't have like a specific vision. I moved to LA for a different job, and then just this journalism job fell in my lap truly, and I loved it because it was like being entertainment, like on camera adjacent. I got to like interview all the people that were doing the thing that I thought was so cool, like the comedians and the actors and the writers. So I was like taking in all this information about the business via that job. And so it felt like I was still in the world. But I didn't really discover comedy yet. I took the journalism job as just like a cool experience and a way to pay my bills. And then I started taking improv classes, truly as just a means to make friends. And it quickly became a passion. So from then on, I was like, how do I become a full time comedian? How do I pay my bills doing this job? Doing this thing I really love, but I had to I had to pay my bills, and comedy does not afford that for a very long time. So the journalism job really saved me. It allowed me to work during the day, take care of my the things that we all have to take care of while pursuing what I really loved at night.
When you were doing that job, like, did you interview someone where you were just, totally nervous? Like, did you screw up? Like when you're interviewing someone big ever, like
I
any
was
war
all
stories?
I was always nervous because I covered I did two. There were two facets of the job. One was the in-person like events, so the movie premieres and the award shows, and you're on a red carpet. There's a lot of pressure because the celebrities go through so quick. You got to get out all these questions, and you're trying not to ask them the same 50 question they've been asked. So that always felt like a lot of pressure. But then I had the other part of the job was I would talk to people on the phone for like 20 to 30 minutes and just kind of find out more about them as a person. That I enjoyed because it allowed you to like just kind of get to know whoever the person was. So I had one of those with like Betty White. That was pretty incredible. To talk to her for 30 minutes on the phone was just like, I can't believe this. I met Julie Andrews in person twice. I interviewed her at events. I always like those like really legendary actors, those veterans. I watched Dick Van Dyke watch himself in Mary Poppins,
Wow.
which was a trip. So those things are the part of my that job I'll always remember.